Okay, my name is Greg Pound with FreeOurKids.com. I just came from the 49th Street Courthouse in Pinellas County, Florida, where Terry Shiver was starved to death, and where all the other videotapes that you have seen of this abuse industry of using children for federal grant money. And I have before me a man by the name of Walter and his wife Amy, and they're going to tell an unbelievable story of what happened to him. Now, Walt just got out of jail. Amy is, I'll let him explain to you what's happened. And we'll just try to decipher, try to make sense of what's going on here in Pinellas County, Florida, to our families. Okay, Walt, do you want to explain what happened? Can you tell us today? Let me also give the date. Today is January 17th, 2008, and today is Thursday. I was out in front of the courthouse. And Walter and his wife came out, and they started explaining to me what in the world's happening here. So, Walt, do you want to go ahead and tell me what happened? Well, and what day was this happened to you?
This was the 16th of January.
Okay.
It was about 8 o'clock at night. I was coming out of my kitchen. I seen a light shining through my daughter's bedroom window. I started heading to the door, and there's Pinellas County Sheriff's officer standing there with my door open, asking me to step outside. They told me they were taking my kids.
They told you this after they got you outside the house first?
I didn't step fully outside the house. I stepped down one step.
Okay, but you were outside the door.
I was outside the door.
Okay.
They told me they had a court order to take my kids. I asked them to show it to me. They refused to show it to me. I told them they were not taking my kids. I turned to go back in my house. I made it all the way up into the door. The police grabbed me, threw me into my truck, and arrested me.
Okay, now, if you were 3 flights up on the steps, you mean he grabbed you as you were going through, as you turned around to go back in the house to try to get back into your castle, he grabbed you and he threw you down. You're saying?
I know 2 of them threw me down. They threw me into my truck. I landed on the ground. They grabbed my arms. They twisted them behind my back. They threw cuffs on me, told me I was going to jail.
Okay, when you asked him to see a warrant, did you just simply say,
They told me they had a court order.
Okay.
I asked to see it. They refused to show it to me. I told them they could not take my kids. I turned to go back in my house.
Okay, let's go on. You have how many kids?
I have 4 children.
Okay, now let's find out why they came to the house. Now, you guys explained to me that the reason they came to your house was because in 2007, in February, a little girl was getting off the bus in your neighborhood there where you live, and she got ran over. Now, you didn't run her over, but she got ran over, and so the speed limit in the neighborhood is what, 10 miles an hour?
10 miles per hour.
And your 16-year-old son was out with a bunch of other friends playing football in the street, and what happened was that a lady came down the street with no lights on her car in the evening, and she was flying down the road, and the kid said something to her about driving too fast. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And this woman yelled back at the kids, or they had an exchange of words about them telling her to slow down, that her daughter worked for CPI, which is the Child Protection Investigation Team of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, and she's told him that if he doesn't shut up, that she's going to call her daughter and have her daughter send out. And now, can you explain that a little bit? What it was said?
Well, yeah, she told my son that if he didn't shut his mouth, she was going to send her daughter to work for Child Protective Services to our house.
Okay.
4 days later.
4 days later, it happened.
Child Protective Services was at our house.
Okay. Now, I want to get some background. Now, you've got a job. You work for a printing company. Is that correct?
I work for a bag company.
A bag company. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's a bag company? When you mean?
We make all kinds of plastic bags.
Okay, all kinds of, that's fine, that's fine. You make bags, we have, there's a street term, a bag lady or whatever, people carrying bags on the street.
Well, I guess you could call me the bag man.
Okay, but you got a legitimate job where you work for a living, and now your wife she's in school, and she's just finishing up she's getting a certificate or a degree in, what is it? Certificate.
AMT, emergency
AMT.
technician.
Okay, you drive for an ambulance now. You're an ambulance driver, is that correct?
BLS driver.
Okay, she drives an ambulance. She's getting her certificate to finish up her, which would put her on an emergency team. Is that correct?
With my EMT certificate, I would be able to work for Sunstar because Pinellas County is all ALS, and as BLS, which is a first responder for the state of Florida, which is what I am. I can only work in Hillsborough County. Their
Okay.
ambulance services are BLS.
Okay, so now the thing is you work with the police departments and stuff like this. I mean, you deal with emergency issues when they come out to someone who's had a stroke or an accident. These are the kind of issues you deal with on an everyday basis, emergency issues. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now I come out here. Here's your husband. You can see he's been locked up in jail, just getting out. These people want to know how they can come in, take their kids without no warrant, with a court order is supposed to be a form of a warrant, where they're supposed to be able to give, where there's someone who's got testimony of abuse, abandonment, neglect, supported by oath or affirmation of abuse, abandonment, and neglect. Now the reason they didn't, and now what do you guys think about this? I mean, I want to know. Now this is the time for you guys to go ahead and to start to express yourself. Before I turn this camera on, a lot of people get like, they roar like lions, but then when the camera comes on, they purr like kittens. Now I need you guys to get back again. I mean, I can see your husband as he's tired. I can see, I mean, the hell you guys have been through. Now they took the two youngest kids, is that correct?
That's
What
correct.
are the ages of them?
5 and 8.
They took your 5 and your 8-year-old children, and how old are your other children?
16 and 18.
16 and 18. Now, can you believe they took these little kids? Do you know what these little kids are going through in their minds? Now, it's just totally unbelievable. Now, just tell the hell that they put you guys through, and what I mean, this stuff that's what happened. Now, you're before Judge Fleming, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, this is before the ruling judge in the juvenile court system, Judge Mary L. Fleming. And this is the industry. They have no probable cause supported by oath or affirmation of abuse, abandonment, or neglect. And what happens when you read the Florida statute on these crimes, these people have done no such thing. They love their children. They love one another. They're both working hard for the American dream, and it's becoming the American illusion to them. To see them working as hard as Amy explained to me, the stuff that she's going through, just trying to get this stuff done in her classes and all the stuff. I mean, this is going to cause a ton of problems for you guys. So, Amy, do you want to say?
All this stuff voids my EMT certificate because I will no longer be able to sign an affidavit of good moral cause. So then I won't be making money with a job and benefits to support my children to move to a better place to live.
Okay, I'm going to move the camera. I want you to see the tears running down this Amy's eyes. Now, this is the same thing that happened to my wife. Now, when you watch freeourkids.com, we did not abuse, abandon, neglect any of our children. Our daughter was bit by someone else's dog. My wife was getting a teaching degree, and she could never teach as a teacher. I mean, her job, she was working at an all-children's dental facility with an AA in earlyhood child development, and she had a dental certificate, and she couldn't get a job now because she has this problem with Department of Children and Families saying that she abused, abandoned, and neglected her kids when we never done no such thing in our whole lives. Now, Amy, you're saying, tell me one more time, if you could speak a little bit louder for the audience, how is this going to affect you one more time?
I won't be able to work because I have to sign an affidavit of good moral cause.
Good moral cause.
And in order to get my certificate, which I've worked for, I couldn't get it before. I took classes from May through December to get my certificate. I won't have it until March.
March of this year.
March of this year, but I have to go through another state background check. So with this,
on your record,
I probably will not get it. And these classes cost us over almost $2,000.
Okay, this is why we need an attorney. When you see this, these people, their rights have been violated. They're losing their children. They're losing everything they've worked for. They're just American people. They're just hard-working American people burning the candles at both ends to pay the rent with foreclosures. In Hillsborough County alone was 8,500 foreclosures on the real estate market. And people are just struggling to survive. And while the court system is running low on money, they go out and they confiscate the children of people in order to get federal grant money in order to keep their system going, in order to keep paying the officers all this large money that they're paying these guys in the Department of Children and Family. And Jim Coates knows this is going on, the sheriff in Pinellas County. Jim Coates, I've given him false police reports. He knows this is going on. I sit on the Juvenile Justice Board with Jim Coates. Judge Fleming was the judge that she's never shown up since I've been elected to that board. Now Judge Beach is the judge that's replaced her, along with Bernie McCabe. These guys are the kingpins in Pinellas County that are using people for federal grant money, destroying people's lives. And what happens is this is I mean, inconceivable to look at this couple, to see how tired both of them are, being up all day, all night, working. She's going to school. He's working. They got 4 kids. Their kids are being tormented now. And this is going to cause a life of problems for these people. And this is what they're doing to family after family after family in Pinellas County and throughout the state of Florida. And that's why I tell people, do not move to Florida with your families, because this is going on. If you look at my case, me and my wife, we cannot believe what's happened to us, that we have lost our 5 children over an accidental dog bite of someone else's dog. And we can't even see our little children, our babies. And it's just sad. And I know exactly what you two are going through. I mean, my wife went through the same thing. She wouldn't be able to use her teaching certificate or teaching degree because of an accidental dog bite of someone else's dog biting one of our kids. Had nothing to do with it. I went to jail for 30 days. I mean, it's totally insane, but they're making money. They're making money off grinding the American people down into powder. And that's why I'm running for sheriff in Pinellas County, because we want to establish the integrity and the righteousness in our judicial system, where people who are struggling, there's poor people and there's rich people. These people are not rich. They are not multimillionaires. They're struggling to pay their payments, like just what it costs to pay for car insurance, gas, car payments, house payments, insurance payments. The insurance in Florida is so high now for a house, you've got to it's just unbelievable how much it's costing to live here. And so I just want to say to this couple, Amy and Walt, our prayers are with you, and we're going to do everything we can to get this exposed, to see if we can find an attorney that will represent you guys and to stop this corruption that's happening in Pinellas County.
Here's my concern. They take your kids, like my son, my 5-year-old. He didn't want to let go of me. I had to go get him a blanket and a stuffed animal.
You mean when they were taking them from you?
They were taking him. I got home from my workshop to get a county job, which this probably also ruins that too.
Your workshop to get a county job?
For 911. I had to go through the workshop.
For 911. See, people need to see this. You guys are working in the system. Go ahead, ma'am.
My son wouldn't fit. I told her he needs a car seat. So she dug one out of her trunk and tried to put him in, and I said, no, a booster seat. And she couldn't find a booster seat, and he wouldn't fit in the toddler car seat, which I told her he wouldn't before she put it in the car. She tried to squeeze him into it. And then when he wouldn't fit, I took him back and I was holding him. And the cop said that because this is Florida and he's 5 years old and he weighs 60 pounds, he can sit in a regular seat. As a EMS professional, I have seen what putting a child in a regular car seatbelt can do to them in a crash. My children sit in car seats until their shoulders.
It's sad. I mean, you guys trying to protect your kids, and here you've got authorities that won't even listen to the parents while they're trying to protect the best interests.
They don't even read you your rights when they arrest you.
Right. They didn't read you your Miranda rights?
They never read me my Miranda rights yesterday. My 5-year-old was standing right behind me in the doorway when the cops grabbed me and threw me into my truck.
And you got bruises on your arms?
I got bruises on my arms. I still got marks on my wrists from the handcuffs.
Unbelievable.
And they drove him around in a van for 2 hours until I called dispatch and told them that he was a diabetic and hadn't had his insulin. So then they were forced to take him to the jail and start processing.
And I still never got my medication last night. I told the arresting officer I needed to take my medication before he arrested me.
Wouldn't listen to you.
Wouldn't listen.
They don't care about you. They don't care about your kids.
It's sad. We're being oppressed. This is just like Nazi Germany, what they did to the people.
I agree.
I mean, I can see how, I mean, can you imagine, you know, when they took our kids from us, we cried. Me and my wife went home, just like, I mean, just like you did taking that 5-year-old little boy from mommy. Saying, Mommy and Daddy, why can't you do something? Well, thank you.